I'm gonna go pick up my dad again, and we're gonna go for day number 2, second round at the junkyard. You're gonna go on the GoPro for that. So I'll see you guys when I get there, and I'll try to get as much footage as I can of me pulling what I need to pull to bring back to the shop, and hopefully that will kind of end this video for today. So I will see you in a bit. Alright guys, so everything's breaking on me today, and basically I just brought a whole bunch of tools with a wheelbarrow. My dad paid for the wheelbarrow. He insisted on the wheelbarrow, but so I'm getting it. But this is what we're getting, guys. Ford Explorer. This one's a 99, and right back in here on that little tab back there, I don't know if you can see that. Well, that says 4L10, which is a 410 gear, and it does roll because we tested it. And basically what we're doing is I'm going to take this rear end off of here because Pedro needs it, because Pedro is going V8, and the little rear end that's on Pedro right now cannot take all that power that's up front. I'm going to start taking these things off here, just start disconnecting things and seeing if I can actually get this thing loose enough to start pulling apart. So I'll see you guys in a little bit when I get further into the progression, and I'm going to be eating soon, so see you in a bit. Yeah, I got this whole side pretty loosened up, getting ready to do the other side. And maybe the idea is to be able to kind of lift this up and down through, and then under, and same thing on the other side, kind of work this thing out of here without having to mess with the leaf springs.
Well, where you gonna be at? That's what I'm pointing. Come on. Well, we don't need to film that. I need you over here working. So far, I got a good shot at your boots.
So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take off. This is the brake line. We're gonna take this off. Now I'm keeping the calipers, and I'm gonna go ahead and keep these rotors as well.
Sure.
I don't know if I'll probably end up getting new rotors, but for now I'm just gonna keep them for testing purposes. See back here, I took this line off. That was a 14 millimeter. So that's a 14 millimeter.
You put this camera up, stop playing to get that shit off.
Look, man, you take it easy. And that's going on YouTube too. I'm gonna tell everybody how mean you are.
Oh. my bad. Hey, look at all this shit on your knee.
Huh? Yeah, I don't care.
I know.
Yeah, it'll be alright. Then this guy, we're gonna take this cable off like we did on the other side.
Okay, he's getting that off. And if we look at the vehicle, your lucky number for the day is 213.
No, there's people that can do
put
this
the
like
juice
a
on
million
it?
times faster, but
You know the WD, put WD-40 on it? That's how it went out the last time, easy.
yeah, that's this part back here. What I need is this.
Okay.
But you know what? It probably won't hurt. You want to grab this stuff?
What?
We'll be back in a second, guys. I'm gonna work this thing out of here.
On air.
All right, guys. So what I ended up doing was we had to take this little. This is the cable for the e-brake. It goes all the way up to the front. I don't think this is gonna work on Pedro, and it's just gonna be too much trouble to go all the way up to the e-brake pedal and get it. So I'll probably either utilize one from Pedro, or I'll get a new set and implement it somehow. But this is kind of what I got. So there's a tab right here, right there. This little tab right in there. I hope you can see it. There's this little tab. You got to pull that back, and then you have to work these little ears right here back, and then pull it through that hole, and then this whole thing will slide out. But for now, the next thing I got to do is take the bolts out, take the nuts out of the U-bolts, and I have to take these bolts out here for the sway bar. And we're gonna go ahead and leave the sway bar attached to the leaf springs, and we're going to also leave the shocks attached to the leaf spring, because all I really want is the axle. Because after I get this, then I can just get the kit that allows me to conform this rear end to the Jeep. But we're almost on the way on getting this thing out of here. We're doing real good, and then we're gonna have to go in there and cut that drive shaft out. So Pops is gonna kind of film me pulling this stuff out, and I'll see you guys in a second.
Okay, get to it. Okay, get to the business now. Camera gotta go.
Okay guys, after much struggling and fighting, this guy is out. It's on the ground. Pulled out from in here. Basically, as you can see, we didn't take the leaf springs out. We just kind of went between them, down, and then back between them on the bottom. And I think we got a pretty sweet little deal right here. Now, one of the lines kind of had broke on me, but that's okay. The important part is this little T-handle part here. I want to make sure I keep that, because those are hard to find. So, all right guys, with that, we're gonna go ahead and get packed up. We're gonna get out of here, and I'll see you when I get back to the shop, and we'll close this video. See you in a bit. Well, what we got, guys, is we have our Ford 9-inch rear end. It's finally in the shop. So I went a little over budget on this thing. However, it is the rear end I needed. I spent a little bit more than I expected to spend for it, but that's kind of been the case of this whole situation. But what I'm gonna do today, guys, right now, is I'm going to show you guys what I actually have been through with this vehicle. Alright guys, so to go ahead and give you guys a little bit of what we did with this vehicle. I guess you remember from before, we started from the first video, we actually had changed the brake fluid. This bank was running lean, vacuum lines that weren't quite right. So as you can see, I put some new vacuum lines on here, and basically just kind of went over the whole thing. I ended up taking all the intake off and replacing the valve cover gasket on the bank on the back side of the engine, which is kind of a pain in the butt to do, but I ended up doing that. I also put new spark plugs in it all the way around. He had a transmission fluid leak, which I ended up addressing, and that leak is no longer there. But I still have two more engine codes. He also had a bad motor mount, which I ended up changing. Just a lot of little things here and there, but as I chased things down, more things ended up popping up, and you know, I've been kind of chasing my tail on this vehicle, and I'm hoping I'm coming to the end of this thing. It does sound a little loud over here, so I do think the problem either may be this O2 sensor down in here. I don't know if you can see that. There's an O2 sensor down in there that's probably picking up maybe where it may need a gasket in here, something like that. I checked all of the vacuums, so it doesn't seem to be leaking any vacuum, so it's either that or it's something in the fuel. So we're gonna have to address that to see if we can't get those codes out. But before I do that, as you can see, I have some steering knuckles here. And these are steering knuckles that I got from the junkyard because I stupidly forgot to put the lug nuts on this on this one tire, and it came off while he was driving. And now when I put new rotors and pads on there, which it didn't look like it was damaged at first, but when I put new rotors and pads on there, they scrape like crazy because I think there's some damage to the hub. So I went to the junkyard and got him another set of hubs, and hopefully changing the hubs out will, or the knuckle, changing the knuckle out will get rid of the scraping. Dust shield is pretty rusty, so I'm gonna put the good dust shield on this one and just kind of change it all around. And I'm sorry if I'm like kind of lethargic, just kind of like I'm just kind of going through the motions trying to get this done, but I hope you guys understand. What's up, guys? It is, I don't know how many days down the line it is. I know it's been like almost a month since I posted, and you know, I've been recording, but then I'd find footage that I didn't like, or you know, and I'm just starting to get too picky about this thing, so I'm probably just gonna put a whole bunch of stuff out, and whether it makes sense or not, whatever. But we're back on the ES330 again, and I gotta admit that it has been really hard finding motivation to do this, and without him and me kind of tying this car to him and him being gone, it is just really hard to find the motivation to finish. And I don't know, I don't get it either, but that's what it is. I'm just having a really hard time finding motivation to finish. But I'm gonna have to treat this like I treated the Mustang when that started, you know, becoming like really difficult to deal with, and basically just come on out here, put a couple of hours in, and then, you know, shut it down and try it again on a daily basis till it's done. So just to show you, I do have a bunch of carnage going on right now. As you can see, ended up pulling out this whole the whole assembly. So you see the knuckles out. The only thing hanging there right now is the brake caliper. So here it is here. This is the one that I'm going to trade out. And you know, as I move this thing around, I'm not 100% sure this was the actual problem, but that's the only thing I can think of on why brand new rotors and pads were scraping. And the other thing I wanted to show you is this guy right here. This is the other part of the knuckle, the difficult part of the knuckle, and as you can see, better. But yeah, he drove it a little ways down the road, and as you can see, the road flattened that off. This is actually supposed to be rounded, but you can see that the road actually flattened that off. So that's why I was assuming that there's some damage somewhere. And as you can see, I had to cut that bolt out right there. I mean, this thing was just a pain in the butt all the way around. This dust shield right here is in great shape. It's got a little bit of rust back there, but I think I'm gonna cut that. But all in all, it's in good shape. However, this is on the bad hub, or the hub that I assume is bad. And as you can see, this Junkyard dust shield is rusty and holy and terrible. However, I want to keep this hub. So, the problem is that I can't just separate this from everything else because it's held on by these like non-tamper style things here. They're not quite bolts. I don't know what they are, but they're holding the whole thing together, and it's kind of annoying because I'd like to be able to just separate this, get the plate, and then stick it on the other one, but I can't. It's not going to happen. So what I'm going to have to do is stick something in here and pry this up, because you can see there's a separation here. Pry that up, cut it out, and then do the same thing for the good one here. Pry it up, cut it out, and weld it to the donor. So that's pretty much what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to do a little surgery, bust out the welder. And I don't know, why am I doing all of this when I can just leave that shield on there and just kind of throw it on there? I could. But, I mean, then I wouldn't feel good about it. I would feel like, you know, I would feel like I half-assed it. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start setting up my table here. Oh, I'm really close to you guys. I'm gonna start setting up my table here, and then I can start kind of putting it into place. Maybe take some of these things off that I don't need, and yeah, see if we can make this happen. So I'll see you guys in a bit. Well guys, I don't know if you saw that on the GoPro or not. I'm gonna try to slow it down so you can see it. But the old angle grinder went kapoof. So yeah, this continues to be an issue. So I got one more. I got a backup angle grinder I'm gonna use and see if I can finish this up. So yep, let's keep going. Alright guys, there you go. It's freaking ugly. It's ugly, but you know what? Oh shoot. But it holds, like, it'll support its own weight. Hold on, let me focus in a little bit, just so you can see the ugliness. You see? It's freaking ugly. But anyway, I don't care. It's holding because I can lift this thing up. It's heavy. With one hand, and it holds the shield on, and that's all I really care for. If I really want to pretty it up, I'll just grind up some stuff. And then all these little gaps in here, I'll go ahead and fill those in with like some JB Weld or something. And then just paint the whole thing, and you'll never know. And as long as it's attached, that's all I really cared about. This is more for practice anyway, and you guys already know that I don't weld much at all. And you know, the more practice I get, the better. So we're gonna consider this some very shoddy practice. I don't care. I'll admit it. I know my wheels look like crap. I know that. I'm not worried about that. Look, but it holds. Look how good it holds. It's not coming off. It's not going anywhere, and it's a good dust shield. So all I have to do is fill it in and paint it, and I'll be done. But as of right now, guys, I have completely run out of time, and I'll come back and gussy that up maybe tomorrow, and hopefully I can start putting this thing in there and actually start having a hub that will work on this car. I'll see you guys tomorrow, which is gonna be right now. Okay guys, next day, still got the same mess that I'm dealing with. The front of this thing, but that's still ugly. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to clean it up. I'm gonna throw some more like bubblegum welds in there, and then I'm gonna try to basically just kind of grind it so where it looks halfway decent from at least the side that's going to be facing people. I plugged some more of those holes. I turned the wire speed way up so I can just kind of fill in, and it filled in okay. There's still some little pinholes that I'm just gonna have to live with because I'm out of time and I cannot spend any more time on this anymore. It holds. I just wanted it to look better than it did. I know I'm not a welder, but you know what? It's gonna serve its purpose. It's a freaking dust shield. I just wanted a better looking one than that piece of crap that's over there. I'm gonna scuff it real quick and just throw some paint on this bad boy, and then tomorrow I can come out and install it. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. I'll show you the results, and then I am out. Alright guys, there you go. Just a quick little job. Still see a few of the little holes that are in there, but I really just can't spend any more time. But it's not too bad for what it is. Paint really cleaned it up. I mean, they're just gonna have to live with a little gobbledygook in there, but I'm not worried about it. So I'm gonna leave this overnight to dry, and then I'll go ahead and install this thing tomorrow. That's what it looks like from the other side. So it's not too bad. So guys, another day down. Hopefully I can get this thing in tomorrow, and then I can end this video. So I will see you tomorrow. So the nightmare continues, and it's still fighting. So just to show you where I'm at with this thing, with this horrible table, this table of horrors and destruction. But basically, yeah, I had to cut this bolt. The other half of it, yeah, it's right there, and a lot of it got stuck inside the bushing. So I wanted to press the rest of the bolt out, but the centerpiece came out along with the rest of the bushing. So as you can see, I spent 3 days. I had to order a new bushing. I finally got it pressed in. I didn't show you pressing in this bushing because I cursed the whole time, and even on a time lapse it wouldn't have been pretty. But yeah, the bushing's all pressed in now. Yeah, I kind of beat it up putting it in there. But you know what? I'm not gonna keep screwing with this thing. I just want it done because I am getting totally frustrated. So bushing is in, and I can go ahead and start mounting this thing in there, which is still the same as it was. It's been looking like this for like a week. 1 week, a knuckle job. Who knows? Who knew? Anyway, so I'm gonna go ahead and start sticking this thing back on there, and then tomorrow I'm still gonna have to go to the store and grab another bolt, and maybe I can start putting this thing together, and I can stop crying. So I'll be back when it's done. All right, guys. As you can see, I am standing in the spot where that old troublesome car was, and it's finally over. Mike, rest in peace. You're a good man. That car was just, oh man, it fought every step of the way. But at this time, it's done, and I'm gonna go ahead and clean my mess. And I'm sorry I didn't, do any time lapsing for me putting the hub assembly back in, but it was just mainly just me cursing and crying and being upset and not liking any of the process of that. Not really, but it was actually just kind of painful, and I just decided to just go ahead and throw it back in, finish it up, and get it sent out as soon as possible because Mike's fiance really needed it back. So there were some things I couldn't conquer, like I couldn't figure out the check engine light. It just said running lean, bank 2. I mean, there were some things in my mind I was floating around that I could have done, but it would have been mostly kind of throwing parts at it. And I didn't really want to do that, and she needed the vehicle back. I just got it in a running and driving state where she can at least continue to go around, and maybe she'll bring it back later on for me to mess with it again, and I'll keep you updated on that. But until then, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Don't forget about my Zazzle store. And don't forget, guys, keep wrenching. Wrench out. Peace.